morning to you, good morning to you, and welcome to the morning show today here on Pan-African Television. It's the 26th day of May 2021. I'm super excited to be here to come your way to serve you with great content. And of course, look at stories that are trending on the front pages of the various newspapers that have come in so far. I want to say a very big thank you to the 6 a.m. Team Ivy Abuna de Nakete for bringing us the morning news. And of course, a big thank you to our international partners, the People's Dispatch and the Brazil De Facto, for bringing us the happenings inside India and of course in Brazil. Well, we've tabled a lot of things for conversation today. Today we'll be looking at some African stories. We'll look at the health segments, COVID-19. We'll look at some lifestyle segments as well, and we'll do the stories that are trending on the front pages of the various newspapers that have come in so far. There are quite a number of stories trending, and I'm sure you're going to love this analysis. Well, my colleague here is with me, Bless Alama. So, Bless, good morning to you.
Good morning, Ivan.
Good morning. How's your day going? How's your week? You've been missing from Monday, Tuesday.
Yeah,
what's up?
Because I've been embroiled in a lot of things. We'll talk about that later.
Personal, private things.
Yes, personal.
Money matter.
You see that thing?
Tell you right now, the way the country go make it, if you don't hustle, my guy, you don't go chop.
Charlie, I tell you solemnly.
It's serious, bro. It's serious. And so, of course, we have to do our bet in making sure that at least no few over is there.
We enter. You see that thing. So, basically, it's the 26th day of May 2021. It's such a delight to be here to serve you compelling content as we usually do. Ivan, today there's lots of happenings in the world of sports.
Yeah.
Over the weekend, the Premier League season, the major leagues across Europe, came to a close.
Okay.
The season ended for them, and then we'll be talking about that later. But for now, let's do our morning dose of motivation,
right?
Our morning dose of vim,
right.
Like I always,
the morning dose of vim,
which is very essential for the day's work. We take today's quote from none other than Ernesto Che Guevara. So he was an Argentine Marxist revolutionary physician, author, guerrilla leader, diplomat, and military theorist. He was a major figure of the Cuban Revolution. His stylized visage has become a ubiquitous countercultural symbol of rebellion and global insignia in popular culture. He was born on June 14, 1928 at Rosario in Argentina. He died sadly on October 9, 1967 in La Higuera in Bolivia. His children include Aleda Guevara, Camilo Guevara, Hilda Guevara Gadia, Celia Guevara, and then some others. He was married to Aleda Marsh de la Torre from 1959 to 1967, and then Hilda Gadia from 1955 to 1959. He starred in some movies, including Che Part 1, The Motorcycle Diaries, Che Part 2, A Bullet for Che, and then Comandante. So that's something brief about the man, Ernesto Che Guevara. And what is he telling us? It says that every day people straighten up the hair. Why not the hat? Every day people straighten up the hair. Why not the hat? So, Ivan, this quote is straightforward. It's as bare as we all can see that every day,
straight as it can be.
Every day people straighten the hair. Why not the hat? So that's a question.
Yeah.
Why, instead of we always straightening our hair, instead of we making sure that our hair is always combed, looking neat and all that, why don't we ensure that our hats instead is straight and devoid of all heat, devoid of as it is, like despondency towards our friends and all of that. Why don't we ensure that instead of having a clean straight hair, why don't we ensure that we have a rather clean heart, which is essential for life? Why don't we ensure that we love one another? Why don't we ensure that we show compassion? You understand? So once your heart is straightened, who cares about the hair?
Yeah.
I don't know if you have anything to add.
I think like you clearly said, the quote is as straight as it can be, or as it could be. Every day people straighten up their hair. Why not the hat? And this is coming from Comandante Ernesto Che Guevara, one man that I hold in high esteem. Reading more about him from the guerrilla movement, and of course from Cuba to all those places that he did extremely well for. He's one man that I've grown to love extremely well, and anything that comes from him is extremely motivational and inspiring. And it's very deep and it touches the heart. Look at this. Every day people straighten up their hair. Why not their hats? Come to think of it. Let's think about it. If we had every single individual in the world with a straight hat, what do you think this world will be like?
Exactly. That's a good question.
This world will live or will move freely, devoid of hate, devoid of jealousy, devoid of exploitation, devoid of taking advantage of people and all that. And imagine if somebody exploits you, how do you feel? You feel bitter, you feel bad, and what comes into your mind? Revenge. You also want to exploit, back as well. So imagine if we could live with a straight heart. If we could live, if Western imperialist, Western capital, individuals, multinational corporations can understand that, okay, we're moving into Africa with the sole aim to exploit them. If they had good heart, straight heart, they will just come, be investors. Let's have a mutual understanding. Let's commemorate this business together. Let's do things that would inure to the benefit of every single individual or everybody in the country, not just for their own parochial interest.
Yeah.
So, this quote is as straight as it could be. Having a straight heart means that doing things in the right way. And in fact, it also connects to our leaders.
Yeah.
Having a straight heart means that our leaders could also have a straight heart where, listen, everything that they do, every agreement that they sign, every corporation that they get involved with, they would first of all think about the people. Will this benefit the people first before we'll sign this? Or is it just going in favor of just a small section of people, a small group of people? And so having a straight heart, trust me, is one of the things that if we should inculcate into every aspect of our life, of course, everything that we do could bring us progress in everything that we do. And big ups to the man Ernesto Che Guevara, Comandante Ernesto Che Guevara, for this amazing quote there, right? So that's about it for the quote.
A morning dose of vim.
Morning dose of vim, right? So we'll move straight to the sports segment.
Of course, yes. I was telling you that over the weekend.
But before you go on, have we played our match Chelsea, Champions League?
No, I think it's next week Saturday.
It's next week Saturday.
Yeah,
right.
Okay. So that match will be coming over. No, I think it is this Saturday.
It's this Saturday. Yes, go ahead.
Saturday,
yeah.
not next week.
Yeah.
So this Saturday, Chelsea versus Manchester City.
Blues
versus Blues. We'll see which of the Blues come out stronger.
The deeper blue comes out stronger.
We shall see. So away from that, like I earlier intimated, over the weekend, the top 5 leagues in Europe, they brought the season to a close. So the Premier League, the Ligue 1, the Bundesliga, the Serie A, they all came to a close, and then it wasn't without, a lot of action, so there was so much that went on. Let's start with the EPL, where Manchester City, of course, they already annexed the trophy with some 86 points. Manchester United secured second place with some 74 points. But the positions that were up for grabs were the 3rd and 4th position. And then, trust you me, it went down to the wire. Liverpool, beating Crystal Palace 2-0 at the end of the day. Leicester City, they couldn't stand the might of Tottenham Hotspur. They fell to a 3-2 defeat, a 4-2 defeat rather. Of course, they took the lead in the first half. They came back in the second half. Everybody thought that they would be able to banish the ghost of last season, where they failed to make the top 4 when they were beaten 2-0 by Manchester United. But it looked as though of course, Brendan Rodgers, it looks as though he doesn't have that luck around him to qualify for the Champions League. So last season, of course, Leicester came up short against Manchester United. And this season as well, they had all, the luxury of time to beat, of course, Tottenham Hotspur in order to make, the UEFA Champions League, but they couldn't. And then, though Chelsea, Ivan Banz's Chelsea lost on the day, they were able to, make it into the UEFA Champions League. So, and away from that, of course, like we earlier intimated, the final will be coming up very soon. Away from that, let's go to Serie A. Serie A too wasn't without, action. There was a lot of action there actually with, of course, Inter Milan already winning the Serie A trophy, breaking, that, jinx of, Cristiano Ronaldo's Juventus. So Inter came first, as you can see on the screen, with some 91 points. Milan were second with 79 points. Atalanta, 78 points. Juventus, they won their game for 5-1, and so they had some 78 points. Napoli, Gennaro Gattuso's Napoli, they were unable to qualify for the UEFA Champions League. A simple win would have catapulted them into next year's, UEFA Champions League competition, but they came up short. And who made it in their stead? Juventus, Cristiano Ronaldo's Juventus. To that effect, Napoli have given Gennaro Gattuso his marching orders. He no longer is the gaffer of the team. He has been sacked by the team for failing to, make the UEFA Champions League. Away from that, let's go to Ligue 1. Ligue 1, of course, everybody knows that the likes of Neymar Jr. da Silva and then Kylian Mbappe, they have been running riot in that league. They have been winning it all the time. But this time, LOSC Lille said, no, we are going to win the league this time. And then true to their words, they did with some 83 points. And Paris Saint-Germain, of course, they came second with some 82 points. AS Monaco, they are making a return to the Champions League as well with some 78 points. Olympique Lyonnais, Memphis Depay's Olympique Lyonnais, they came fourth with some 76 points. Olympique de Marseille also came fifth with some 60 points. Away from that, let's come down to our own backyard, the Ghana Premier League. This season, we are trying to should I say bring back the love. Bring back the love. People are saying that there used to be a time where the love for Ghanaian football reached its crescendo. Everybody was about, the Black Stars, Charlie. African football, should I say, Ghanaian football had reached
the peak.
It
was everything.
Exactly. It was everything. The support was massive. And over the years, it has always been so. But over the past few years, the past 2, 3, 4, 5 years, when, of course, that Brazil fiasco came where our players went to, the World Cup, and then they decided that okay, we are not going to play until we are being paid. We are being paid our, our bonuses and all, and then our appearance fees and all. You remember that the coefficients and all of that.
The money suites.
Exactly. Yeah. So since then, it's like Ghanaians have swayed away from the national team.
Because clearly they came to an understanding or realization that the players loved the money more than bringing the cup home.
Exactly.
Perhaps,
the last time Ghana as a country we laid hands on African football's most coveted prize, that is the African Cup of Nations, the trophy. It was as far back as 1982. You and I weren't born.
Yeah.
So to this day, we have, despite all the investments that has been made into the senior national soccer team, there's nothing, absolutely nothing to show for it, except for the fact that, of course, in 2006 we were able to qualify for the World Cup for the very first time. In 2010 we qualified, and then in 2014 that happening, that fiasco of the World Cup, occurred for the Black Star, for the Black Star. So let's narrow it down. We are trying to bring back the love. Let's see what's going on in the Ghana Premier League. Let's look at the table where, of course, Accra had to folk. Who would have thought? Ivan, you wouldn't believe it, but it's been over 1,000 days. 1,000 days. It's been over 1,000 days since Accra had to folk, last occupied, the summit of the GPL table. Over the weekend, of course, they were able to return to the very top of the GPL. So Hearts-of-Oak are first. After having played some 26 games, they are first with some 46 points. Asante Kotoko, Kumasi Asante Kotoko, they are second. They have the same points though, but ask me why they are second. Kotoko are second because of goal difference. They have conceded more goals than Accra Hearts-of-Oak. So ideally, that makes Accra Hearts-of-Oak, the team that's occupying the very zenith or the pinnacle of the Ghana Premier League table. Mediama Sporting Club are third with some 43 points, and then Accra Great Olympics, the football team with 1,000 names. I'm sure you may have heard Oli Dadi, Oli Koson, Oli Risalenda. So they are exactly. So they are fourth with some 43 points. It's a dicey situation up there. The least mistake you do, or let's say you just lose a match, and then by the time you realize you are out of the top 4. So that's basically what we have for sports. But of course, I cannot go without mentioning the fact that today, Manchester United, Manchester United and Villarreal, Spanish team Villarreal, they will be playing today in the finals of the UEFA Europa League. So we are going to see how that match is going to pan out. Of course, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and his charges will be making sure, will try their best in order to ensure that Manchester United, alas, lay hands on some silverware, as the history of the club is so rich with. Of course, Manchester United has won 3 Champions League trophies. They have an Europa League title, 20 Premier League titles, a lot of FA Cups, and then Community Shields as well. We are seeing how that match will pan out tomorrow. We'll be discussing that in length. So, Ivan, that's basically what we have for sports on today's morning show. What do you have next? Some COVID news.
Yeah, let's do some COVID news. I was going to let you do that, but I realized that you just did the sports, so let me just take charge of the COVID news as well. And that ushers us into the health segment for today. And of course, if you can project the table, there's a table, a summary of recoveries by regions from March 2020 to May 22nd, 2021. And I start off, and of course, the breakdown is such that we have the region, we have the cases, we have the recorded and discharged cases as well, and we have the percentage recorded and discharged, and we look at the active cases so far that have come in, right? And I start off with the Ahafo region. That's it, projected on your screen there. I start off with the Ahafo region, and it says that the case count is 722, as you can see, boldly captured under the cases, and we have the recoveries and discharge 692. In percentage wise, it's 95.8, and active cases 10. Now we move straight to the Ashanti region, which is 15,590 for the cases, recoveries and discharge 15,310, and in percentage wise is 58.2. Right, and of course active cases 133. Now let's move straight to the Bono region, where it is 1,410. Recoveries and discharge is 1,363. I beg your pardon. Recoveries and discharge in percentage wise is 96.7, and of course active cases is 8. Right, now let's move straight to the Bono East region, 1,439, and of course recoveries and discharge 1,408, and in percentage wise we have 97.8, and the new cases that have come in so far is 7. Now let's move straight to the central region of Ghana, where cases or case count is 3,449. Recoveries and discharge is 3,316, and in percentage wise for recoveries and discharge is 96.1, and case count, or of course active cases is 84. Right, and let's move straight to the eastern region of Ghana. The eastern region of Ghana is 4,225. Recoveries and discharge is 4,125. Recoveries in percentage wise is 97.6, and active cases is 28. Now let's do the Greater Accra region, where a lot of people or health practitioners or the world, or of course the Ghana Medical Health Service would describe it as the epicenter. The Greater Accra region is 51,588. Recoveries and discharge 50,537. Recoveries and discharge in percentage wise is 98.0, and active cases so far is 802. Now let's do the Northeast region. The Northeast region case count is 220. Recoveries and discharge is 219. Recoveries and discharge in percentage wise is 95.6, and active cases so far is 1. That's amazing. Let's move straight to the Northern region. 1,654 for cases count, and recoveries and discharge is 1,625. Recoveries and discharge in percentage wise is 98.2, and of course active cases so far as it stands now 26th of May is 0. Now Oti region is 431 active cases, recoveries and discharge 418, and percentage wise is 97.0. Active cases so far is 7. Right. Savannah region is 123 cases. Recoveries and discharge is 118. And percentage wise is 95.9. And active cases is 3. Upper East region 1,320 for active cases. Recoveries and discharge is 1,275. In percentage wise is 96.6, and active cases so far is 1. Beautiful. Upper West region 499 for case counts, and recoveries and discharge is 479. Recoveries and discharge in percentage wise is 96.0, and active cases so far is 1. Now let's move straight to the Volta region of Ghana. 2,529 for the case count so far, and the recoveries is 2,472. In percentage wise is 97.7, and active cases is 31. Now the Western region cases is 5,885. Recoveries and discharge is 5,800. Recoveries and discharge in percentage wise is 98.6, and active cases is 45. Now let's do the Eastern North region. Sorry, the Western North region, I beg your pardon, is 888. Recoveries is 853. In percentage wise is 96.1, and active cases is 27. So that's about it. Okay, so and I like this. International travelers, the Kotoka International Airport, international travelers. So active cases, or perhaps cases count, is 1,730. So these are the cumulative cases for the Accra International, the international travelers. That is for the international travelers. The Kotoka International Airport case count is 1,730. Recoveries and discharges 1,697. In percentage wise for recoveries and discharge is 98.1, and active cases so far is 33. So if you look at the cumulative figures for the cases so far for these various 16 regions, is 93,711 for the cases. That is the total. Recoveries and discharge total is 91,707. That is the total for the recoveries and discharge, and in percentage wise cumulatively is 97.9, and active cases cumulatively so far is 1,221. So this is the summary of recoveries by region from March 2020 to May 22nd 2021. So that's about it. So let's move straight to our African story for today. What do you have?
Yeah, so Congolese president and current chairman of the African Union, Felix Tshisekedi Chilombo, has called for the immediate and unconditional release of Mali's transition leaders, President Ba Ndao and his Prime Minister Mokhtar Ouani. So away from that, two major cracks appeared on the ground in the eastern DR Congo city of Goma as powerful aftershocks from the Mount Nyiragongo volcano shook the area. Cracks measuring up to several hundreds of meters along and several dozen centimeters across in places opened up as the city was hit by tremors from the volcano around 12 kilometers away. So let's go away from Ghana and see what's happening in these countries.
Congolese president and current chairman of the African Union, Felix Tshisekedi Chilombo, has called for the immediate and unconditional release of Mali's transition leaders, President Ba Ndao and his Prime Minister, Mokhtar Ouani. The two officials were both arrested by the military, just as after forming a new government, following the resignation of the previous one amid growing protests after only a few months in office. The two Malian officials spent the night in Kati, an army camp situated a few kilometers from Bamako in the custody of the military, which appears to disapprove of the composition of the newly announced government. This same junta staged the coup that saw to the ousting of elected President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta 9 months ago on August 18, 2020, following a period of intense civil protests. The chairman has since strongly condemned any action aimed at destabilizing Mali, as he also called on all actors in the Malian political transition to show restraint and respect for the constitution. The military has so far remained silent without making known its intentions, despite speculation that the transitional leadership could be made to resign following a similar situation in 2012 and 2020. Two major cracks appeared on the ground in the eastern DR Congo city of Goma as powerful aftershocks from Mount Nyiragongo volcano shook the area. Cracks measuring up to several hundred yards long and several dozen centimeters, roughly 2 feet, across in places, opened up as the city was hit by tremors from the volcano around a dozen kilometers 9 miles away. The longer crack ran from Mount Goma, which marks the city's northern perimeter, to the main hospital and the banks of Lake Kivu. The shorter crack, around 100 meters long, appeared near Goma Airport on the northeastern side of the city, on the surface of the main highway from Goma to Butembo. Residents said they were worried about a further eruption after Nyiragongo sprang back into life, spewing a flow of lava that reached the city's outskirts, although there was no sign of any panic and some shops remained open.
Congo and then Mali as well. Ivan, let's see what's trending on the front pages.
So that's about it for the African stories right there. I'm so heartbroken about the story of the volcano issue. I saw that story over the week on social media, and I saw how people were running helter-skelter, trying to get shelter and all that, and it destroyed that very jurisdiction where it came up, and it was extremely sad. I mean, I'm thinking that where are they going to go from here? You get it? Where are they going to go from here?
For once, I even thought volcanic eruptions were alien to Africa, but I didn't know that it's here because
even for a fact, I even thought that earthquake was also alien to Africa. But I mean, it started coming, and I realized that listen, everything is possible. Everything
and it's one serious phenomenon, the volcanic eruption. Fire erupting from the ground is
something else. It's something else.
May we never experience such.
May we never experience such. Right now, let's move straight to the stories that are trending on the front pages of the various newspapers that have come in so far. The newspaper headlines, and I start off with the Insight newspaper. The Insight newspaper, and the banner headline has a picture of the former special prosecutor, that is Martin Amidou Kaiser. Alamisi Kaiser. Martin Amidou Alamisi Kaiser. And it says
controversial, man.
It says Martin Amidou, he says new Attorney General too young and inexperienced, which is why there's a picture of Godfred Yaodame captured together with Martin Amidou there. He says Godfred Dame is too young and of course inexperienced to occupy the position of Attorney General. What is your take? Do you think it's a step in the right direction? Exactly what he says. Do you think it's a step in the right direction? Right now, SFG hails 58th AU Day celebration. SFG, which is the Socialist Forum of Ghana, hails 58th AU celebration day or day of celebration. Yesterday we premiered a video on the AU Day where we had resource persons, people that worked closely with Kwame Nkrumah, speak on issues of AU Day and of course the United Front of Africa, and it was a beautiful masterpiece. I don't know if you saw the documentary. It was a beautiful masterpiece. It was aired or premiered yesterday.
I think at 9 p.m.
At 9 p.m. Yes. We saw Mr. Pratt, Sakwesi Pratt Jr. also speak extensively about the unification of Africa and the toils of our leaders. We saw Mr. Comrade Henneku, Justice Henneku, also make succinct points about the unification of Africa. So I think it was a beautiful one yesterday. And still on the front page of the Insight newspaper, Economic Management Performance Data, IMF exposes government again. Story captured on page 8 of the Insight newspaper. EPA nails exhale launch pub over excessive noise pollution at East Legon. Story on page 5 of the Insight newspaper. So that's about it for the Insight newspaper. You can visit the portal, the insightsnewsonline.com, and read more stories captured there. Or you can get yourself a copy for just 3 Ghana cedi for today and read the stories captured on the in the paper as well.
Let's then do the Meridian newspaper. It says the motto is the truth behind the news. The banner headline says NDC MP granted 2 million Ghana cedi bill over alleged fraud. Story can be read on pages 2 and 11 of the Meridian newspaper. And then 715 chase 55 MMDCE positions in the 5 regions of the north. That's according to John Boedu. And then Chief Petitions Local Government Minister over boundary disputes and Ghana Sports Development to receive $25 million boost thanks to KGL and MOI's collabo. 36 million Ghana cedi consumer debt affecting Ghana Water Company Limited operations. That's according to the public relations officer of the Ghana Water Company. And these are the stories captured on the front page of the Meridian newspaper.
Right, now let's move straight to the Informer newspaper. Nothing but the truth. That's how it tags itself, the Informer newspaper. And the banner headline has some executives of DIPC, that is the CEO, UOP Grant, and of course DIPC board chairman Mr. Kwesi Abuasi, and of course the finance minister Ken Ofori-Atta. And it says, as government tightens nose on Ghanaians through taxes to raise revenue, JIPC bleeds over massive chop. JIPC bleeds over massive chop. Abandons free government office complex for annual rent of 3 million Ghana cedis. Now, Esiedin Ketia is also in the news, and it says Esiedin Ketia courts anger over derogatory comments. Story captured on page 2 of the Informer newspaper. Now, enforcing political party law, you are equally guilty. EC fires at political parties, says 97% of parties won't exist if it enforces law. Story captured on page 4 of the Informer newspaper. And there's a picture of Alan Tremantin, Minister for Trade and Industry. He said, boost for industrialization as project to establish national meteorology institutes launched. Story captured on page 5 of the Informer newspaper. Moves to develop Ghana's capital market. CSC or SEC launches master plan. Story also on page 5 of the Informer newspaper. So that's about it for the Informer newspaper.
Away from that, let's do the Ghanaian Observer. The Ghanaian Observer newspaper. The banner headline has the picture of the Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, of course, the President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. It says, scramble for COVID-19 vaccines by Africa SAD. Scramble for COVID-19 vaccines by Africa SAD. Stories on pages 9 and 10. So that's according to the President. And then 715 people chase 55 MMDCE positions. That's according to MPP General Secretary Mr. John Boydo. And then President warns ministers, CEOs, MMDCs against abuse of sirens. Education Minister pushes for economic transformation through education. So there's a picture of the Education Minister there, Dr. Yao Osei-Duchum. And then Ejisu MP commissions 50,000 capacity catfish project. And these are the stories on the front page of the Ghanaian Observer.
Right, now let's move straight to the Ghanaian Publisher newspaper. The Ghanaian Publisher newspaper, integrity and professionalism. That's how it tags itself. And the banner headline says, NDC fraud MP hot, hangs on 2 million Ghana cedi bill. I don't know if you follow this story. This is Honorable David Von D, Member of Parliament for Trifo Eti Mokwa, constituency Member of Parliament.
He's been trending.
Yeah, he's been trending, of course. Well, it's alleged that he defrauded some institution where they came in to acquire some land, and he sold a particular, some huge land, acres of land to them at a very huge price. I think at about $2 million or something, $2.5 million, if I'm right, yes. And of course, it happens that he did not own that very land, and it became an issue, and it was sent to court and all that. So they've been battling in court. I think yesterday they were in court and all that. So I think that's where the story is emanating from. So NDC MP or NDC fraud MP hot, hangs on 2 million Ghana cedi bill, and that's him, Honorable David Von D, Member of Parliament for Trifo Eti Mokwa. Now, 715 chases 55 MMDCE positions in the 5 northern regions, right? And that's a picture of John Boydo, the General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party as well. Stories on page 2 of the Ghanaian Publisher newspaper. Now, this picture of the President of the Republic of Ghana, Akufo-Addo, captured, and it says, let's work to make Africa stronger. This is coming from His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Let's work to make Africa stronger. Now, government bans ministers, CEOs, MDC from using sirens, right? Stories captured on the front page of the Ghanaian Publisher newspaper. Baumia Movement, or Baumia Movement 2024 launches Baumia TV. Oh, wow. Baumia Movement 2024 launches Baumia TV. Wow. Story on page 2 of the the Ghanaian Publisher.
They are thinking ahead. They are thinking about.
So clearly you can understand that they are not concerns of the concerns of the concerns of the people right now. It's not their priority. It's not their priority now. Their priority is drip.
2024. Alright, from that, let's do the Daily Searchlight newspaper. The banner headline has a picture of the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Dr. Abu Jinapo, says 32 Atiwa miners back on remand. That story can be seen on page 11. And then dualization of Accra-Kumasi routes to resume soon. That's according to Roads Minister for Roads and Highways. That's Honorable Kwesi Amoakwata. And then NDC MP charged with $2.4 million fraud. Pleads not guilty. Granted 2 million Ghana cedi bail. Story on page 2. So, in Central Region 2, headmistress prevents 5 pregnant pupils from writing BC. So, there's a picture of Education Minister Dr. Yawase Duchum captured there boldly on the front page of the Daily Searchlight. I think that's that for that. What do you have there next?
Right, now let's move straight to the National Enquirer newspaper. The National Enquirer newspaper. And the banner headline says that corruption hits GCB Bank. GCB Bank. Corruption hits GCB Bank. GCB. As staff beats war drums. As staff beats war drums. You see, there seems to be a problem. Like, there seems to be corruption everywhere. Every government institution, there's corruption. Charlie. We just read a story about, what do you call it, GIPC, where there's some sort of chop in the camp of GIPC right now, and we are hitting on a story on GCB Bank as well, where there's an alleged corruption and staff are beating war drum. We've heard an MP also frauding some investors and all that. So everywhere there's problem. Everywhere there's huge misunderstanding. Yeah. There's huge problem with regards to money everywhere. It's amazing. It's amazing. Well, let's continue. Now, still on the front page of the National Enquirer. Now, Sam Jonah is not a member of the NDC. This is coming from a CD in Ketia. Why Akufo-Addo nearly wept while driving? Why Akufo-Addo nearly wept while driving? Now, IMF disputes government's economic performance data. These are the stories captured on the front page of the National Enquirer newspaper.
The Guardian Times says it is your most authoritative newspaper. The banner headline says GHS, that is the Ghana Health Service, extends COVID-19 vaccination to Friday. 275,000 so far received second jab. Story can be read on page 16 of the Ghanaian Times newspaper. And then UER, that is Upper East Region, records 1,639 teenage pregnancies in first quarter. And that's a lot. 1,639 teenage pregnancies from January to April in the Upper East Region.
There seems to be so many problems in this country that we don't focus our minds to, and we end up being fixated about.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
These are teenagers.
That's a lot. And I'm told that most of them cannot even identify who the fathers are and all that. And so clearly there's some sort of rape in there, and I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing.
So yeah, away from that, CRI partners National Chief Imam to fight child abuse story is on page 17, and then on page 8, 8 policemen allegedly extort 38,000 Ghana cedi from drivers. Let's quickly do the back page. It says NADMO urges Ghanaians to prepare for heavy rains. That's June, I guess. Okay, they are asking us to prepare, but have they prepared? I want to know if they are adequately prepared for that as well. So, and then away from that, Korea donates more than $90,000 equipment to ECOWAS Maritime Center in Accra. So that's basically what we have for the Ghanaian Times newspaper.
Right, let's move straight to the New Publisher newspaper. As it tags itself, hide nothing, fear nothing. The New Publisher, hide nothing, fear nothing. And there's a picture of the President of the Republic of Ghana captured boldly there. And it says, Akufo-Addo calls for United Africa. Akufo-Addo calls for United Africa. Still on the front page of the New Publisher newspaper. 2-year-old baby burnt to death. Story captured on page 3 of the New Publisher newspaper. 2-year-old baby burnt to death. That's about it for the New Publisher newspaper.
Let's do the New Crusading Guide newspaper. Today's edition, the banner headline says, tackling housing deficits. Ochin Hene offers SHC 200-acre land. Story can be seen on pages 3 and 10. And then Foreign Minister marks AU 58th anniversary. Techiman South MP fulfills campaign promise, provides water to communities. Movement for Baumia 2024 launches online TV. That story is on page 10 of the New Crusading Guide newspaper. And then Khadija race for DCE MCE. Khadija has been hot as a Kumfi Infantiman residents kick against them over school feeding scandal. And Lakeside Estates disclaimer not fake. That's according to management exonerates Kalmoni. And that's all we have for the New Crusading Guide newspaper.
Right, now let's move straight to the Inquisitor newspaper, redefining objectivity. The Inquisitor newspaper, redefining objectivity. Now let's move straight to the stories on the front page. Now it says panic over 2013 BOST reports. Panic over 2013 BOST reports. And of course, still on the front page of the Inquisitor newspaper, big gamble over KMA position. Big gamble over KMA position. And immigration officers withdraw from border towns over unpaid stipends. Immigration officers withdraw from border towns over unpaid stipends. Now, of course, still on the front page, Greater Kumasi benefits from malaria control training program. Greater Kumasi benefits from malaria control program. And lastly, on the front page of the Inquisitor, John Kuma commissions 50,000 capacity catfish pond and bridge in Egypt. So, and that's John Kuma there. So that's about it for the Inquisitor newspaper.
Today's newspaper, it tags itself Truth and Enlightenment. On the banner headline says Lamentations of a former BNI officer, politicians, the cause of security excesses. So on page 3 of the Today newspaper. And then so there's a picture there of Professor Martin Otinga Baby, who was the head Department of Geography and Resources Development at the University of Ghana. And then Amidou speaks again, takes issue with president. Story on page 3, and that's all we have for the Today newspaper.
Right, now let's do the Daily Analyst newspaper. The Daily Analyst newspaper, and it's a picture of the Minister for Roads and Highway, Kwesi Amoakwata. It says Ministry blasts roads minister. Minority blast roads minister over repackaged roads. Minority blasts road minister over repackaged roads. Right, so that's about it for the story. And tension in ARB Apex Bank, but board insists there is calm. Tension in ARB Bank, but board insists there is calm. Work so far on OT Landfield, very impressive. Work so far on OT Landfield, very impressive. And it's a picture of the President of the Republic of Ghana. It says, on AU Day, let's make our people prosper. That's his message to the people. Let's make our people prosper. Techiman South MP fulfills campaign promise, provides water to communities. So that's about it for the Daily Analyst newspaper.
Let us finally do the Daily Guide newspaper. It says it is Ghana's favorite newspaper. The banner headline says, Jomoro MP hot over dual citizenship. So that's there's a picture of the Member of Parliament for Jomoro, Dorcas Afo Toffee. Story on page 3. And then Ochehene gives SHC 200 acres of land. Story on page 6. MP gets 2 million Ghana cedi bill for $2.4 million fraud. Story on page 3. And then Nana meets Pan-Africans MPs. Story can be read on page 6 of the Daily Guide newspaper. And that's all we have here.
Of course, that's what I also have here on the newspapers, of course, or stories on the front pages of the newspapers. And this is where we draw our curtains. Justice Apia is up next with an interview with his guest. Pretty soon, they are already getting ready to be seated, and so we'll make way for them. Justice Apia is up next with an interview. Do not move a mouse, stay with us. We'll be right back.